this platform part. Now, when do you think is the proper timing for bringing that out?
Once he files his certificate of candidacy, he should be ready, or he better be ready to present his platform, because that will be the question that will be asked. I think the reason why the platform has not been submitted is because there are a lot of negotiations with alliances, alliance building with other groups, and each of these groups who wants to bring in their group or their party into alliance would like to bring something on the table and put it in the platform. So if the Nacionalista would present it immediately,
lock, stock, and barrel,
yes,
there's no room for...
it limits their flexibility in forging strategic linkages. For example...
What are the strategic linkages that we are seeing emerge as key? Because on the headlines, you're only seeing that there's a focus on Bongbong Marcos on one hand and Makabayan on the other, and which is which, and what's the logic?
Well, the logic for the Bongbong Marcos link is quite easy to understand. They need the solid North vote. They need an Ilocano vote. And Bongbong Marcos, on his own, is already a very strong candidate. And he brings into the picture Ilocos Norte, a little bit of Ilocos Sur, and remnants of the Ilocano vote in Region 1, and of course some in Region 3, Region 2, and also in Mindanao, because there's a lot of Ilocano migrants all over the whole Mindanao region. So he brings that to the table. Remember, the Marcoses are still a formidable political force among Ilocano circles. So it's quite logical. Anyway, when you bring in Marcos, the only one you bring in politically is really Bongbong Marcos. So you also don't have the difficulty of bringing additional candidates that may be criticized by your opponent. So it's quite a safe, negotiation with the Marcos KBL link.
Now, in terms, let's say, of the more radical potential allies such as Makabayan.
Because Makabayan would be very strong in certain regions, like Region 5, for example. They would be strong in Region 8 and in Region 6. These are traditional strongholds of Bayan Muna and the other party list groups. So they bring that to the table. Plus, the Makabayan is quite strong in the urban poor areas of Metro Manila. So you have groups or individuals that have actually foot soldiers on the ground and who can do very strong mobilization. So that is what they bring into the table.
Well, do you see that potential alliance prospering again because of Bongbong, or?
Well, Makabayan has no other choice. They have nowhere to go. Obviously, they would not be able to negotiate with the Liberal Party at this point. And so the election is shaping up to be an LP-NP affair anyway. So the only option that they have there is to go to the NP.
No, is this a function? The idea of, you know, Monica Siple was saying that it's an exaggeration to say it's a return to the LP-NP dynamic, or is it more a return to our view of the presidential contest as a two-man race? Which do you see it?
I think it's really because the two strongest presidentiables are Noynoy Aquino and Manny Villar. The party comes in secondary to that, meaning had it been, for example, a Mar Rojas Liberal Party presidential, I think the dynamics would change because Mar Rojas would not have the same survey ratings as Noynoy Aquino. So it's shaping up to be a two-man race because of the two individuals who are running for president. And so there's a tendency for political leaders at the local level and civic society groups to coalesce or you know, work within these two leading individuals.
Now, of course, we have to bring up the question that is most often raised against Senator Villar in terms of the way, not the actual questions raised against him, but the way he handles those questions, his perceived reluctance to engage in debate. Is this a smart move, or how do you, what's the thinking behind his approach?
Well, the debate issue, he had addressed it by saying that he did not want to debate until the one that he debates with are actual presidential candidates. Okay, that was the reason why Publicly, he said initially he didn't want because there were just too many people debating, and some of them only had a 1% survey rating. In fact, he joked publicly that some of these presidentiables are presidents of the 1% club, referring to some of those in the tail end. So he has participated in the ANC forum with local governments, for example, and he has to participate in the debates come the campaign period, especially now that it is shaping to be a two-man race. So that he has to do.
Now, in terms of the actual strategies he's used to handle issues, I mean, he's always preferred, let's say, to go directly to media and directly to the public than, let's say, battle it out in the Senate. Yet this is a man who became Speaker and Senate President. So what's...
I think it's a personal style or a personal preference. He strikes me as somebody who doesn't want to be confrontational.
Is this a plus in our politics, considering how polarized things have been?
In some respects, it's a minus because we do expect our presidents to be bombastic, you know, to deliver speeches that would shake the foundations of the Senate or the House, for example. On the other hand, people also tune out to the debates in the Senate and the House quite frequently and quite fast, because there comes a point where people simply want things to be done and for politicians to stop talking. So those are the two sides of the coin. Now, to what extent Manny Villar will go to one side versus the other will be a function of specific political developments.
Okay, if you were to boil down his competitive advantage in one word, what would it be?
The fact that he is very politically prepared and that he is a self-made man. I think this is what he brings to the table, and that has been his rallying cry when he says, "What you see is what you get." You know, so he's presenting himself as a candidate who is ready to tackle the job on day one.
Okay. Thank you, Professor De Vera. I'm Manolo Quezon, and this has been The Explainer.